Chapter 11 of Mathilda. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Corey Samuel. Mathilda by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. Chapter 11. It is a strange circumstance, but it often occurs that blessings, by their use, turn to curses, and that I, who in solitude had desired sympathy as the only relief I could enjoy, should now find it an additional torture to me. During my father's lifetime I had always been of an affectionate and forbearing disposition, but since those days of joy, alas, I was much changed. I had become arrogant, peevish, and above all, suspicious. Although the real interest of my narration is now ended, and I ought quickly to wind up its melancholy catastrophe, yet will I relate one instance of my sad suspicion and despair, and how Woodville, with the goodness and almost the power of an angel, softened my rugged feelings and led me back to gentleness. He had promised to spend some hours with me one afternoon, but a violent and continual rain prevented him. I was alone the whole evening. I had passed 2 whole years alone, unrepining, but now I was miserable. He could not really care for me, I thought, for if he did, the storm would rather have made him come, even if I had not expected him, than, as it did, prevent a promised visit. He would well know that this drear sky and gloomy rain would load my spirit almost to madness. If the weather had been fine, I should not have regretted his absence as heavily as I necessarily must, shut up in this miserable cottage with no companions but my own wretched thoughts. If he were truly my friend, he would have calculated all this, and let me now calculate this boasted friendship and discover its real worth. He got over his grief for Eleanor, and the country became dull to him, so he was glad to find even me for amusement, and when he does not know what else to do, he passes his lazy hours here, and calls this friendship. It is true that his presence is a consolation to me, and that his words are sweet, and when he will, he can pour forth thoughts that will win me from despair. His words are sweet, and so, truly, is the honey of the bee, but the bee has a sting, and unkindness is a worse smart than that received from an insect's venom. I will put him to the proof. He says all hope is dead to him, and I know that it is dead to me, so we are both equally fitted for death. Let me try if he will die with me, and as I fear to die alone, if he will accompany me to cheer me, and thus he can show himself my friend in the only manner my misery will permit. It was madness, I believe, but I so worked myself up to this idea that I could think of nothing else. If he dies with me, it is well, and there will be an end of 2 miserable beings, and if he will not, then will I scoff at his friendship and drink the poison before him to shame his cowardice. I planned the whole scene with an earnest heart, and frantically set my soul on this project. I procured laudanum, and placing it in 2 glasses on the table, filled my room with flowers, and decorated the last scene of my tragedy with the nicest care. As the hour for his coming approached, my heart softened, and I wept. Not that I gave up my plan, but even when resolved the mind must undergo several revolutions of feeling before it can drink its death. Now all was ready, and Woodville came. I received him at the door of my cottage, and leading him solemnly into the room, I said, "My friend, I wish to die. I am quite weary of enduring the misery which hourly I do endure, and I will throw it off. What slave will not, if he may, escape from his chains? Look, I weep. For more than 2 years I have never enjoyed one moment free from anguish. I have often desired to die, but I am a very coward. It is hard for one so young, who was once so happy as I was, voluntarily to divest themselves of all sensation, and to go alone to the dreary grave. I dare not. I must die, yet my fear chills me. I pause and shudder, and then for months I endure my excess of wretchedness. But now the time is come when I may quit life, I have a friend who will not refuse to accompany me in this dark journey. Such is my request. Earnestly do I entreat and implore you to die with me. Then we shall find Elinor and what I have lost. Look, I am prepared. There is the death draught. Let us drink it together, and willingly and joyfully quit this hated round of daily life. You turn from me. Yet before you deny me, reflect, Woodville, how sweet it were to cast off the load of tears and misery under which we now labour. And surely we shall find light after we have passed the dark valley. That drink will plunge us in a sweet slumber, and when we awaken, what joy will be ours to find all our sorrows and fears past. A little patience, and all will be over. Ay, a very little patience, for look, there is the key of our prison. We hold it in our own hands, and are we more debased than slaves to cast it away and give ourselves up to voluntary bondage? Even now, if we had courage, we might be free. Behold, my cheek is flushed with pleasure at the imagination of death. All that we love are dead. Come, give me your hand. One look of joyous sympathy, and we will go together and seek them. A lulling journey, where our arrival will bring bliss, and our waking be that of angels. Do you delay? Are you a coward, Woodville? Oh, fie! Cast off this blank look of human melancholy. Oh, that I had words to express the luxury of death, that I might win you. I tell you, we are no longer miserable mortals. We are about to become gods, spirits as free and happy as gods. What fool on a bleak shore, seeing a flowery isle on the other side, with his lost love beckoning to him from it, would pause because the wave is dark and turbid? What if some little pain the passage have, that makes frail flesh to fear the bitter wave? Is not short pain well borne that brings long ease, and lays the soul to sleep in quiet grave? Do you mark my words? I have learned the language of despair. I have it all by heart, for I am despair, and a strange being am I, joyous, triumphant despair. But those words are false, for the wave may be dark, but it is not bitter. We lie down and close our eyes with a gentle good night, and when we wake, we are free. Come then, no more delay, thou tardy one, behold the pleasant potion. Look, I am a spirit of good, and not a human maid that invites thee, and with winning accents, oh that they would win thee, says, Come and drink. As I spoke, I fixed my eyes upon his countenance, and his exquisite beauty, the heavenly compassion that beamed from his eyes, his gentle yet earnest look of deprecation and wonder, even before he spoke, wrought a change in my high-strained feelings, taking from me all the sternness of despair, and filling me only with the softest grief. I saw his eyes humid also, as he took both my hands in his, and sitting down near me, he said, This is a sad deed to which you would lead me, dearest friend, and your woe must indeed be deep that could fill you with these unhappy thoughts. You long for death, and yet you fear it, and wish me to be your companion. But I have less courage than you, and even thus accompanied, I dare not die. Listen to me, and then reflect if you ought to win me to your project, even if, with the overbearing eloquence of despair, you could make black death so inviting that the fair heaven should appear darkness. Listen, I entreat you, to the words of one who has himself nurtured